Hello, it's Mariko, aka Gamerwife of Gamerwife.com, and I'm back with my favorites for November 2014. My first favorite for the month of November is something that I've been a fan of for a while, but I also rediscovered while on my little road trip with Rick down to Salem, Massachusetts, and that is kettle corn. Kettle corn! It's nature's most nearly perfect snack. It's got everything. It's crunchy, it's salty, but it's also sweet. It's everything you want in a snack. And if you make it properly, it's not even that bad for you. It's relatively low in calories, it's high in fiber because of the corn, and depending on how much sugar you actually put in, it's even not that high in that. It's the perfect snack. Kettle corn. You are my favorite. Next up, one of my favorite things that I started doing this month is animal manicures. You won't be able to see this properly, it's gonna be all fuzzy. I'll put some pictures up on the blog. But I own a ridiculous amount of nail polish, like ridiculous. So it was high time I actually started doing like more art style things with my nails other than just like painting them a single color, because I just couldn't justify having this much nail polish and not using more than one color at a time, you know? So I started by doing a penguin manicure, and it turned out so good. They look just like Gunther from Adventure Time, who's like my favorite. And I was so happy, and so I tried doing a kitty cat manicure. That was a little less successful. That one takes a bit more dexterity, maybe a proper dotting tool. But considering I've just been using like an eyeliner brush and, you know, whatever I already have in my kit, like I'm pretty happy with the results. Actually, my third favorite of November, which is my favorite social media, which is Instagram. Guys, why did it take me so long to get on Instagram? Like, I've been so resistant to it for so long, and like all of the bloggers I follow are like, Instagram. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care, like I don't use my camera that much, like I prefer using a real camera, blah blah blah. I get it now. I totally get it. I love Instagram. Like, I started doing put together projects, so that's why I started the account there. But like, I'm really loving it. I'm loving the way that you interact over the photos and the moments. Like, I don't know what it is exactly, but I just really, really enjoying it. And there's like been good conversations happening, and also cats. Yeah, I'd say like 3/4 of the people that I follow on Instagram are cats. So if you have an account for your cat on Instagram and I'm not following you yet, put the link in the comments because I will follow you. So Instagram, you are my favorite. My next favorite is another thing that I got actually on our trip down to Salem. And it's these little guys. Aren't they cute? They're so cute. And they're really light. They're made of wood, and they're little earrings. I'm wearing earrings right now, so I won't put them on. But they're really light, and they're super cute, and I love their big owly eyes. Little wooden owl earrings. You're my favorite. Alright, so it's time to move on to my entertainment favorites for the month of November. First one is a new podcast. As you guys probably figured out by now, I listen to an obscene number of podcasts. I tend to prefer the kind of like educational but entertaining, well-produced NPR-ish kind of stuff. So This American Life and Radiolab. And I just finally discovered 99% Invisible, which is another kind of NPR show / podcast now. But it focuses on design. So the title comes from the idea that good design should be 99% invisible. But it's so much more than just talking about design. It really goes into like the history of certain objects or people, and just really illuminating things that you've always taken for granted and never had a deeper thought at. that maybe, you know, a lot of times deserve a little exploration. And that's the kind of stuff that just like totally turns my crank like you don't know. So 99% Invisible, you are my favorite. So my last two favorites for the month of November are still entertainment things. The first one is kind of along the lines of 99% Invisible, in that it's kind of educational documentary stuff, but it's still very, very entertaining, and it's all about, you know, illuminating things that we taken for granted. And I have to thank my friend Melissa for introducing me to this, but it's a whole series of shows by the BBC, and they all have different names, but the basic idea behind them is that they get a couple of archaeologists and a historian to live for an entire calendar year in a historical setting, using only the historical tools and methods and ideas that they're meant to be embodying. So the first one I started watching is called Edwardian Farm. And so basically the two archaeologists and the historian live on an Edwardian tenant farm, and so they show how that works. They build a pigsty, they examine the newest in farming technology of the time, you know. And the other thing about this series is that each series, or because it's British, it's instead of a season, it's a series, is different geographical areas too, and how that influenced the way of life as well as the historical period. There's also a Victorian farm. Apparently there's a couple pharmacy series that are along the same lines. I just started watching the Tudor Monastery Farm, which is by far my favorite because I am a closet medievalist, and it is just absolutely fascinating. The whole thing about like why you wear a codpiece and how, because you have to sew yourself into your clothing and that's the only way to go to the bathroom, is just so fascinating. And it's like, it's so like, there's so many like well duh moments, but it's just like things that we take for granted, especially now that we have like flies and like, you know, zippers and that kind of thing. So yeah, BBC historical farm docudramas, you are my favorite. And the last entertainment favorite is actually something that I mentioned in last month's video, but I watched more of the series in November. I've actually blitzed through all 4 seasons that are available on Netflix, but the series in question is Covert Affairs. And I was a little bit dismissive of it last month when I was watching the first season, but now that I've finished it, like, this is a legit full-on recommendation. If you're into spy stuff, if you like movies like The Bourne Identity, if you were a fan of Alias back in the day, or La Femme Nikita, or even more serious spy stuff, because it is set in the real world, in the CIA, it's surprisingly good. It's got really great, strong female characters. It deals a lot with the problem of being a strong female character, a strong female, you know, having a career and relationships and that, in a, like, not cheeseball way. There's also good diverse characters. Like I said, the main love interest is a blind guy, played by Christopher Gorman, who you guys might remember from Ugly Betty, and my crush on him has gotten stronger, and they show him without a shirt, like, a lot. Like, a lot. Which makes me feel, like, really dirty and gross, and, like, you know, if it was a guy talking to a woman the same way, it'd be really gross, but, like, he works hard! It shows! It didn't... Anyways, so yeah, for reasons that aren't like creepy and objectifying, I totally recommend checking out Covert Affairs if you haven't before. So, Covert Affairs and Christopher Gorham's six-pack, you're my favorite. But I think that's all for now. So you can follow me on the blog, gamerwife.com. I'm available on Twitter at gamerwifeblog. As well, I'm on Instagram at mariko_MTL, and I'll have links to everything I talk about in the description box. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.